if I talk more about self-respect, once to me, self-respect is how you show to the world, to the rest of the world, that you have, how you present yourself to the rest of the world, in the way that you dress, communicate, the way you act in public, your manners. So when you, the way that you, the way that you do these things, show the rest of the world what's important to you and how you feel about yourself. So, and I use maybe getting dressed, going out in public, for instance. I see people out with pajama pants and hair bonnets and house shoes and flip flops, things like that. And I'm not suggesting that you have to get dolled up every time you go out, but if you go out in your pajamas, and it's not an absolute positive emergency, if then what you're saying to, what you're portraying to the world is that you don't care how you look, or you really don't care about yourself. When you keep if your house is really not cluttered, I'm a clutter bug, but if it's nasty, then what you're saying to yourself is that you don't respect yourself enough to clean up, to be in a clean space, a clean house. One of the cleaning resources I used to follow, her name is FlyLady, and she has this whole process for cleaning, starting with day one, and she gives you all these tasks to do day one. It's a really cool program, but she would give you tips, for one, of like how to keep your bathroom clean, and her saying was, you have the right to, not to sound disgusting, but you have the right to be sick in a clean toilet. If you're sick and you need to relieve yourself, if you feel nauseous and you need to relieve yourself, and you have to go to the bathroom to do that, you don't want to be sick over a disgusting toilet. So, for instance, what she does, every time you use the bathroom, she does a 3-second quick motion to clean it. And I follow a similar method where I always just kind of refreshing myself. I usually clean up my space as soon as I finish, because honestly, I struggle with this clutter. I could easily be a hoarder. I think it runs in my genes. So I have to make a habit of doing some kind of clean behind it. For me, I have to build in the cleanup time with the project. I can't do project start to finish and then come back later and clean it up, because honestly, it's not going to happen until there's an emergency and I need that space. When I do my laundry, if I don't put my laundry up right as soon as I finish, it's going to stay in the dryer. Just like my New Year's clothes are still in the dryer right now. It's January 24th. My New Year's load is still in the dryer because I didn't plan to do it right afterwards. But I know that that's part of some of my challenges, my habits that I have to overcome. So I have to build in some of these habits. It turns out when I was 40, I was diagnosed with ADHD. And as I was talking to a therapist, and as I was, just explaining my life story, her comment was that I was exhibiting all the behaviors of someone who has ADHD. And so a lot of things that I thought were failures on my behalf or lack of discipline, things like that. She says that the therapist at that time said she felt like that was more characteristics. My characteristics were ADHD. And my thought was, you mean I could have fixed this stuff with medicine? I could, if I would have had some medicine, I could have fixed it. Who's to say? Who knows? But instead, I had developed habits and um, different things. I had implemented strategies to help me just get through life, and I did beat myself up for having this lack of focus, lack of discipline. But for the things that I knew that I had to get done, my assignments for school, for work, um, things like that, I just had to cope with it and get it done. So I'm almost relieved that I didn't start medicine early, that I just developed life skill habits, because I really don't want to be dependent on medicine to manage through life. However, um, I know people who are on medicine, and how they've just implemented coping strategies in addition to the medicine that they take. I think because I started, or we had this discussion so much later in life, that the medicine didn't really work. I would have learned how to, I would have had to learn how to adjust all over again with the medicine. So I really feel like there is sometimes a little bit of chaos in my brain. One of my friends said, she used to saying that it feels like it's a bunch of squirrels running around in my head. And I can relate to that. I call it a bird's nest because it's just all over the place. So, and you'll even hear it when I talk. I'm kind of stuttering a little bit just because there's like maybe different thoughts coming in, and I have to organize which one I'm going to speak of, which one I want to share at that time. And then I'm trying to kind of outline what I'll pick up next, and and I'm hoping that I can remember what it is. So then you'll see me pause or stumble because I'm saying, what was it, that other thought that I had that I want to mention? And so unless I write it down, I always keep a notebook. I probably won't do it, but even my notes are kind of cluttered. I usually have to go back and rearrange my notes. I really admire people who are super organized and do operate under that structure. It seems like their life might be so much easier than it would with the chaos that I'm comfortable with operating. I have different personality types. I call them, well, I've labeled these personality types. Like I feel like the really structured person is kind of like the ant. In the insect world, the ants are always busy. They're always working. They're single file line. They work together. They got their orders. And that's why I say I'm kind of on the opposite extreme. I'm the butterfly, where I'm just floating around, landing from flower to flower to flower to flower. Even that whole caterpillar to cocoon session, I feel like I have been a caterpillar, and this process was the cocoon. And so now that I've learned and implemented these strategies, then I'm able to kind of put them out there as a butterfly, and accepting myself in that butterfly role. If I did the animals in the middle, I think I have the grasshopper and the bumblebee, and then there's the wasp and the hornet. So more on those personality types later. I'm working on that as I develop this course, assignments and things and research for those different personality types. But more about back to the purpose of the project. So I hope to help people identify and expose them to activities, and be able to analyze the different parts of these activities that best suit their personality, so that they can find strategies and make decisions that help define their lives and help them move into a positive direction of what things work for them and what won't. And then being open to experiencing these things, be willing to take these experiences so that they can identify their strengths and weaknesses and their likes and dislikes. Thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.